Hello, Winning Investor Nation, and good morning, Ian. How are you today?
Doing great, Amber. How are you?
Doing fine. Glad to be here for Monday Market Insights here on our
hmm
YouTube channel. Lots to talk about this week, Ian. First of all, I'm always looking forward, just like you. We're always looking to the future because there's always some type of innovation happening right now. And
hmm
this week, Ian, and Winning Investor Nation, it's no different. So please check out this report from Gartner titled Top Strategic Technology Trends for 2023. As we get closer to 2023, new data from Gartner shows that 2.0 tech, like artificial intelligence, new energy, and digital twins, are now some of the top 10 initiatives for executives worldwide for the new year. So during economic downturns, companies really must seek new forms of operational excellence and accelerate their digital transformations. So in the way, of course, this bodes very well for stocks and that we hold in our portfolio services like your Strategic Fortunes service,
hmm
as well as Extreme Fortunes, which are very future forward thinking and oriented. Well, Gartner noted exactly that, quote, to enhance their organization's financial position during times of economic turbulence, chief information officers and IT executives must look beyond cost savings to new forms, of course, of operational excellence while continuing to accelerate digital transformation. So in 2023, the top strategic technology trends include the metaverse, which we're familiar with in our services, which Gartner predicts that by 2027, 40% of large organizations worldwide will use a combination of Web3, augmented reality cloud, as well as digital twins and metaverse-based projects aimed at increasing revenue.
hmm
Next, in our super apps, which combine the feature of an app, a platform, and an ecosystem in one application. By 2027, Gartner predicts that more than 50% of the global population will be daily active users of multiple super apps. And finally, adaptive AI, artificial intelligence systems, which use real-time feedback to change learning dynamically and adjust goals. This makes them suitable for operations where rapid changes in external environment, as well as changing enterprise goals, actually require an optimized response, end quote. So what this means is that even though we're in a bear market, tech innovation continues at a rapid pace. And during times like these, where cost savings are paramount for companies, technology like digital twins, the metaverse, AI, and of course now super apps will be adapted by future forward companies to thrive and grow. So I thought that was quite enlightening, this report, Ian. How do you feel about this information?
I mean, absolutely. And to your point, we've seen when the economy weakens, companies shift to ways to do more with less. And,
Mhm.
I think a good example of this is how restaurants are going to adapt, right? I think in the next couple of years, if we go into economic recession, there's going to be less people in restaurants. And at the same time, you have states like California that are trying to pass laws to raise the minimum wage for service workers to $22 an hour from $15 now. And I
Wow.
think if California does that, it's going to cause other states to move in that direction as well.
Mhm.
Now, I think that the restaurants are going to respond by having more automation in their stores. Okay. So you're already seeing this happen now. I mean, I went out to eat a couple of weeks ago,
Mhm.
and instead of the server coming over with a menu and taking your order, they basically handed you a QR code, which you snapped, and then you order it yourself on the app, and
Right.
then they come and bring the food when it's ready. Right. So that is allowing restaurants to do more with less in a
Yes.
time when their labor costs are increasing and they're also doing less business.
Mhm.
In terms of the specific metaverse, I think a lot of people kind of dismiss the fact of the metaverse because you think of it as a game that you play, right?
Mhm.
Well, here's the reality. It might not be for your generation and it might not be for my generation. I'm not a gamer. Most of my cohorts aren't gamers, but if you look at the younger generation where they hang out in games. They socialize in games with their friends.
Right.
They watch Twitch videos of people playing games. And
Mhm.
anyone who has children, in their teenage years can surely attest to this. kids these days, they don't watch professional sports, they're not watching TV and Netflix, they're playing games, which, I think there's a lot of skills that you can learn in terms of problem solving and whatnot. So I'm not going to reflect too poorly on that. But I want to say it's not just, the metaverse is not just these games, though. We're getting to a point where the metaverse is the idea that our physical reality is intact with our digital reality. And what I mean by that is there are already apps on mobile phones, for instance, right? So this mobile phone, I've got an app that basically identifies any tree that I see. I take a quick photo of it and identifies the tree.
The tree, okay.
And it can do that because it uses our artificial intelligence to understand what the tree is. And then, if I'm walking with my daughter and she asks me, what kind of tree is that, I can tell her. She thinks I'm the most knowledgeable person in the world because of it. There's also apps that identify birds for you, right? Wow. This is where we're going.
Yeah.
We eventually are not going to have this as the way we connect with the digital world. It's going to be some type of VR augmented reality setup. Okay. And it's probably going to be some type of glasses. Now, Facebook is a leader in this, Amber. Right. Facebook is committed to spending $100 billion on the metaverse. Most people are saying, Zuckerberg, you're crazy, right? But he sees the younger generations, how they're so much more comfortable in the metaverse than we are. Okay. Apple is working on a VR AR set. Tim Cook has already said that is a high priority. And from what I've been reading, it's going to be like a $3,000, at least start at $3,000. All these technologies start ridiculously high, and then they produce more of them and the costs come down, which is going to enable you to identify things in your reality that you're looking at in ways that we never thought of. I, for one, cannot wait to get rid of my mobile phone and replace it with some type of goggles because, we all have these cricks in our necks from like looking down at these phones that we spend hours a day on.
Yeah.
And lastly, in terms of the metaverse, it is going to improve e-commerce in ways that you have not thought of. So do you order anything from like Target online or Walmart online?
Definitely.
So you know how cumbersome those websites are, right? Let's say you're trying to do your grocery shopping. Like, it's like you got to Google, you have to search for tomatoes and you have to search for pineapples. Sometimes maybe they have an AI that tells you what you bought previously and is easy to do. Imagine an experience where you're sitting on your couch, you put on a pair of goggles and you're in the grocery store.
Yep.
And you navigate down the aisles that you already are familiar with. And you have that experience from your couch because the experience you have right now with e-commerce does not resemble that.
Right.
It's nothing to do with the grocery store. And that when you go to the grocery store, you remember things that you forgot that you needed when you're there.
Of course.
So it's much more valuable for these companies to have that e-commerce experience. And that's why I believe the metaverse is going to reinvent so much about e-commerce simply because it puts us in the moment. Whereas the way it works now, it's very, very stale, very dry, So I can't wait for it. I know Walmart, this is a huge ask for them. And I think every other supermarket is going to have to follow.
Yeah.
So that's what I think about the metaverse. Next, let's talk about super apps. Have you ever used a super app before?
No, I have not. Not to my knowledge, Ian. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, it's a funny term, like super app, like Superman for apps. So we don't have super apps here in the US, but in China, they're the big thing, right? Alibaba is a super app. It combines all your social media, all your e-commerce with fintech payments, right? So anything you possibly could do amongst all these different scattered apps that you have, it allows you to do. And one reason why I think super apps are going to pick up is because of Elon Musk's purchase of Twitter. Now, we all know he overpaid for it. He paid $54.20 a share. Twitter board's holding it to it. The company's probably worth 60% less right now, right? So he's going to walk in day one with a 60 to 70% loss on the acquisition that he very boldly made and also, tried to get out of. I believe that Elon Musk is going to turn Twitter into the first super app. And here's why. It's because he has better vision than the majority of CEOs out there. And number two, people forget, but Elon Musk started in fintech. His first company was called X, which then merged with PayPal, and then went public. And, you know, everybody knows the story of PayPal. Then Elon Musk went to Tesla, or actually went to SpaceX first, then invested in Tesla and became the CEO. And now I believe what he's going to do with Twitter is turn it into the first super app in the US where it combines not only social media, but also e-commerce and a fintech platform. So I you know, you can't buy Twitter because it's going to be a private company, but I'm really excited to see what happens with it, because I think he's really going to move the needle in the app space with what he's going to do with Twitter. So there are some new AI models that are coming out that you can input, you know, a design, right? So let's say you want to see Joe Biden eating an ice cream cone on a roller coaster, right? Their algorithm will create this image for you.
Okay.
It's pretty wild. It doesn't always work. Like they'll give you 4 or 5 examples, some of these, and some will be distorted and not right. But sometimes the model actually works. And it's the first time that you can actually create graphics from words. So these machines are getting so intelligent that they can actually draw things for you in the same way that you would ask for a graphic artist. Another thing is that, you know, we better watch our backs, because these programs can write for you. So you tell it, you know, I need 2 paragraphs about what's happening on Twitter, and it will write basically a summation of the news on Twitter. And they're pretty accurate from what I've seen. I think they're just going to keep getting better and better, potentially replace a lot of, you know, white collar, higher level thinking jobs.
That's what's happening. And there's no stopping it. I don't see it, Ian. Progress is progress.
Fortunately not.
No. So Ian, thank you for those insights on this Gartner report. Really fascinating. So let's switch some gears here and head over to crypto land. Talk to me about, what do you see on your radar for crypto this week?
Crypto land. So it's been, you know, pretty sideways through the bear market for most of crypto prices. The total market cap's been around $1 trillion. But I'm starting to see more and more of these airdrops happening. And to help people understand, so a traditional, let's say, Web 2 company, right? Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, for them to acquire new users, they have to advertise, right? So they raise money from venture capitalists, and any digital brand is like this. They raise money from the VCs. They have this customer acquisition strategy, and they go spend money advertising to try to get people to their platform. Okay. And any company, any platform company, any internet platform company, that is how they benefit. The more users they have, the better the experience it is for every other user. And, you know, it just becomes sort of a self-fulfilling prophecy. Now, imagine if when you started on Facebook, if you were an early user, they paid you in Facebook stock. Imagine that. I mean, that would have been great, right? I mean, I signed up for Facebook in like 2005. So that would have been great. Now, what crypto protocols do is that they reward early users by giving them free tokens. And that is how they incentivize a community. Now, in my crypto service, we have had a couple airdrops in the past. The most famous one was Uniswap, which if you had used the Uniswap decentralized exchange before the token started trading, they gave you 400 tokens. And there was a time when Uniswap traded up to $50, meaning those free tokens were worth about $20,000.
Okay.
There was another airdrop with Mirror Protocol, and there was another one, I believe, with the Fox. I think it was called Fox Swap, where we got a number of tokens, but it didn't amount to much.
Okay.
So, but there are opportunities here. There's a new protocol that came out recently called Aptos. And if you engage with the contract before it started trading, they dropped you tokens. And from what I've been reading, some people have made $100,000 to $7,000 on these.
Wow.
Depending on how active you were in their community. Okay, so they're trying to incentivize you to be more active.
Okay.
But there is a whole list of new airdrops that we are working on to show you how you can actually get involved. It's free. All you have to do in most cases is connect your wallet, follow a couple simple steps. It takes 5 to 10 minutes, and you will potentially get airdrop these tokens. And when they go public trading, you can sell them. There's actually liquidity. So people were able to sell those Aptos tokens yesterday when it started trading public, or sorry, last week when it started trading. So we're trying to put together a report. There's 3 or 4 of them that are going to be massive just by the amount of venture capital investment in them.
Okay.
I want to get this to all our subscribers, Strategic Fortune subscribers, and especially the ones that have taken the Next Wave Crypto trial or are members. So if you have not yet, please check out Next Wave Crypto Fortunes. Their time is of the issue because you have to do this before the tokens actually come public or you don't get any of them. But for me, it's free money. So try as much as you can. There were also a bunch of NFT platforms as well in the last year. We don't trade NFTs, but for anyone who had traded on, let's say, OpenSea or Magic Eden, which are NFT exchanges, there were these vampire attacks where a new exchange would open up and they would incentivize traders to move from OpenSea or Magic Eden by paying them to list their NFTs on their exchange. So imagine if the New York Stock Exchange decided one day, or a rival, like a new startup exchange came, and they said, okay, anyone who has ever traded stocks on the New York Stock Exchange are going to get tokens in our new exchange, all right, this new decentralized exchange, and we're going to weigh it by how much you've traded on the New York Stock Exchange. So if you are a heavy trader of stocks in the last 10 years, this new exchange would incentivize you to move over by basically giving you what amounts to equity in their exchange, because the users are the customer. In Web 2, the Facebook users are the customer. Snapchat users are the customer. But crypto protocols allow you to incentivize these customers to come over by compensating them with something that can be exchanged for real money. And that is why crypto networks are so powerful, and all these Web3 companies are going to replace Web2 companies in the next decade because of this incentive mechanism. Lastly, I'll say, we have seen in the last decade, Amber, the world's first digital religion. Bitcoin is a digital religion. If you don't believe me, just go to a Bitcoin conference, right? There is something in our society, and I'm not saying anything positive or negative about it, where people are not going to church. I mean, I grew up Catholic, and the Catholic Church has a 6% annual attrition rate. People are moving out of Catholic Church, but people still need something to believe in.
Right.
And Bitcoin incentivizes you to believe in it, because the more you evangelize cryptocurrency, the more you spread the word of cryptocurrency, the more buyers you have, the better your own position is. Okay. And I believe there's just something spiritual, especially to Bitcoin, because the use case is it's just digital gold, right? It's a payment mechanism that most people use as an investment instead of fiat currency. Whereas Ethereum obviously has utility. You need Ethereum to run the computational power of the underlying Ethereum virtual machine. So people need to buy Ethereum for a use case. Bitcoin is different. It's more of a religion. The Ethereum is, but there are some pretty devout Ethereum believers as well. And you also have that belief component. So that's the last thing I'm going to say about crypto. Please, if you have not signed up for Next Wave Crypto yet, check it out. We're trying to put this report together. Time is of the essence, because these tokens are all coming within the next month.
Wow.
And some of them could amount to a pretty significant payday. So please check that out. I hope you do. And any questions or comments, please leave below. Would love to hear if you've ever gotten some of these airdrops yourself, or if you've heard of ones that we should look into and share with our community as well.
Well said, Ian. And I just have to say it again. If you'd like to get in on Ian's crypto service, Next Wave Crypto Fortunes, please click the bull icon right here over my shoulder. It will contain a link that has all the details to get started. So Ian, awesome information. Really, really fantastic. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
Okay, Ian, I'm going to switch gears again, and we're going to focus on megatrends, because, there's always a megatrend somewhere that we need to know about. So there's actually a recent study by Ericsson, which actually shows how 5G adoption is moving mainstream. So as reported by Fierce Wireless, a new Ericsson Consumer Lab study that surveyed more than 49,000 consumers in 37 countries, they found that 5G adoption is extending beyond the early adopters and, of course, into the mainstream market. So 5G penetration rates are moving beyond 15% and into the mainstream. So this means that the next new wave of 5G adopters will, quote, want to see a significant improvement in coverage as well as network performance, end quote. But get this, Ian, and everyone else, everyone. The Ericsson study found that 5G adoption is inflation resilient. Hello, we're looking for inflation resilient plays. 5G is one of them. Per the study, quote, at least 510 million consumers across 37 markets are likely to upgrade to 5G in 2023, despite rising inflation and increasing living costs. In addition, among those existing 5G users that were queried, the study found that 1/4 said they plan to upgrade to a higher priced plan in the next 12 months. So there's your inflation-proof investment right there, Ian. How about that? So
I mean, it's if you think about it, it's indispensable, Amber.
Like,
once you're at the speed where if you look up anything on your mobile phone, it appears instantaneously. If you have any degradation in your service, it is insanely frustrating.
Unbelievable.
Especially like if you're using a map to get somewhere and the map won't load.
Oh, then you're lost forever.
And I think that it's not only like the upgrade into 5G, it's also the upgrade into faster phones. And I know this is a conspiracy theory and people have talked about this, but it seems like every time there's an upgrade to the iPhone software, it slows down the older phones. So, and they force you to make the upgrade. So I really think like that is one of Apple's main levers that they pull to get people to upgrade into the new phones. And, one last thing I'll say about Apple is the phones are expensive, but the reality is most people buy the phones through the carriers. So, upgrading to a new phone is either going to cost them $30 a month or you switch carriers and they just give you a new phone for free because you joined, So, that just tells you that the like Apple has a dominant position and a pretty wide moat around their castle, which they're able to from time to time like flood out the bottom layer of the castle and make the people like move up. I don't know if that analogy works.
It works. I can visualize. Okay. It worked for me. So Ian, that's it for this week. We covered quite a bit, I think. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's been a pretty good update. Now, remember, sign up for the Next Wave Crypto Fortunes trial, and we're going to get that report out hopefully by the end of this week or early next week, because I really believe time is of the essence on here.
I agree, Ian. Well, on my behalf, I just want to thank everyone for watching and know that you can, of course, follow Ian and me on Twitter. Ian is at Invest with Ian, and I am at A Lancaster Guru. And of course, please remember, thumbs up for us on these videos if you like the content, and of course, subscribe to this channel. We're aiming to make a goal of 10,000 subscribers. So if you can help us get there, we'd be so appreciative.
Yeah, we're almost there, right? We have like 1,000 to go.
Just about 1,000 to go. So hey.
All right, we're gonna have a special party and giveaway when we get to 10,000. So if you're the 10,000 subscriber, we'll think of something to send out to you.
I love that. I'll be here for that. It's awesome. So for me, I wish everyone a great week ahead. And until next time, take care. Ian, take it away.
Have a great week, everyone. We'll speak to you next week. Thank you.